Hello, choosy organizers. It's Christmas week, and I thought I'd give you a little present this week. So I'm answering some listener questions that I've collected. Some of you emailed me, some of you texted me, and some of you asked me in person. And more than one of you said some version of, I love the organizing content that I find online, but a lot of it assumes that I quit my job, moved to the country, and started raising chickens and alpaca and growing all my own food. And listen, if that's your life, amazing, truly. But I know that's not most of us here. Most of us are juggling work, kids, schedules, carpools, groceries, deadlines, and that quiet, constant mental checklist that never really shuts off. So today's episode is a listener Q&A, and every single question circles around the same frustration. How do I stay organized when my life is already full? We're going to talk about organizing cars, planning big goals, managing a home when you're carrying most of the mental load, cleaning supplies, and what organized enough actually looks like for busy parents. Not Pinterest life, real life. And by the end of this episode, I want you to feel calmer, not because you're doing more, but because you're choosing systems that respect the life you're already living. This is episode 90, Organizing Real Life for Busy Parents, a listener Q&A on cars, kids, work, and the mental load. As I was reading your questions, what really stood out wasn't the specific details, the car, schedules, cleaning supplies. It was the pattern. Every question came back to this. My life is full. How do I organize without sacrificing my work or my time with my family? So let's start right there. Several of you asked some version of this. How do I stay organized when it's just me and the kids? How do I manage a large family? How do I stay organized when both parents work and staying home isn't an option? And I want to say this out loud before we talk about systems. You are not disorganized. You're over assigned. Like you've assigned yourself too many jobs. A lot of organizing advice that you find online quietly assumes more people, more time, more money, or one adult managing the home full time. So that's not a failure on your part. That's just a mismatch between the advice and your reality. What I understand from your questions is this. You don't want a simpler life necessarily. You want to keep experiencing new things, learning more, enjoying your career or advancing in it, and having your kids take part in some activities and extracurriculars. So if you're not interested in reducing those things, how can you get organized? Well, you need simpler systems inside your full life. That's the choosy organizer mindset in action. We're not organizing to impress anyone. We're organizing to reduce friction, especially when energy is low. So instead of asking, how do I keep everything perfectly organized? Try asking, where does life feel hardest right now? Where does clutter create stress instead of support? And that's where we start. That's where you notice. Wherever things feel complex or overwhelming, those are the candidates for simplifying your systems. Now, the other questions I want to cover today all answer this question of how do I stay organized with a large family when it's just me and the kids or staying at home isn't an option. Okay. So let's talk about the car because in the car is where organizing can just fall apart. You asked, how do I organize my car when I have kids with after school activities? So yeah, when my kids were young, I had to tote the younger ones along to the older ones' activities for a couple of years. And here are some guidelines that can be helpful. I had 3 goals to achieve during those afternoons into early evenings in the car. Feed the kids, educate the kids, and entertain the kids. So, firstly, think of your car not as a storage unit, okay? You don't have to keep every imaginable thing in the trunk of your car, but you want what's in there to be functional and resettable. So, in my weekly planning on Friday afternoons, I planned meals that could be handheld for the weekdays. Things like wraps, sandwiches, or if I made, chicken or whatever, I'd cut it up into chunks. I'd put a fork in the bag, but if the child in the back seat wasn't coordinated enough to use a fork while the car was in motion, I didn't want to be worried about dropped food, so they could use their fingers. And yes, my meal repertoire in those days was pretty limited, but so what? They ate it. It was a complete meal with a veggie and a fruit, and that was a win. Now, when you're planning for the car afternoons, assume exhaustion. If a system only works when everyone is calm and cooperative, it's not a real life system. When you're planning entertainment for your kids, ask yourself, can this be reset in under 2 minutes at a red light or in the driveway? If not, simplify it. So for entertainment, we planned a movie or two in the car during the drives, and we'd watch the same set of movies on rotation. Cars was in there for sure. I knew the entire dialogue of the Cars movie before ever having watched the movie myself because we played it so often in the back seat. There are backseat iPad holders that attach to the back of the front seat headrest, and they telescope out so everyone in the back seats can watch. We just had everyone watch the same movie or show at the same time. Not only was it easier that way, but when you've set one movie, you can then avoid the doom scrolling to other kids' YouTube videos, and everyone can laugh and chit chat about the same thing. It's a really cool thing for the 1-year-old to watch the other kids laughing, and he joins in just because everyone else is laughing, not because he really understands a thing about the show. And then once the kids started getting homework, well, homework often had to be done while we were on the road. For the ones who weren't in the activity we were driving to, well, we could sit in the stands or in the waiting rooms doing homework while the older kid was at practice. Or we'd sit in the car parking lot and finish homework before going outside and running around. And the kid who was at practice would do their homework in the car on the drive or as soon as we got home. In terms of planning, then, decide on a weekly basis, weekly, not daily, what you'll need for the car. We'd do a library trip on the weekend and we'd fill a tote bag with books to read, and that tote stayed in the car. I planned the dinners that they would eat in the car and an assortment of prepackaged snacks. And all of those I'd pack up at the same time that I was packing lunches, and they would go into another cooler bag or tote. And at pickup, we'd discuss homework. So I would know how much time each child needed and the complexity of the homework to decide when and where to get it done. And we'd pick the movie to watch on the drive: food, education, entertainment. And planning those things takes a few minutes on Friday afternoon, so you know what food you need to buy for the week and whether you need to plan a trip to the library. So now you don't need to stress out about timing, where to stop to grab dinner, all of that while you're at work. It becomes a consistently simple system of food, education, entertainment that you rely on. And the kids expect that. And once the car feels even a little calmer, something interesting happens. You start noticing the schedule that you all need to keep, right? Another common question was, how do I organize routines when every kid has a different schedule? So here's the reframe I want you to think about. You're not organizing schedules, you're organizing decision making, right? The problem isn't necessarily that there's too much going on. The problem is that everything feels like it needs to be remembered all the time. So instead of trying to create one perfect master schedule, try picking 3 anchors: a morning anchor, an afternoon anchor, and an evening anchor. Now, an anchor is a predictable moment that happens no matter what and gives the day or the week some structure. Anchors don't change, even when schedules and activities do. All right? They reduce decision fatigue because your brain stops asking, what happens now, over and over again. When the kids, and you know what stays the same, then the variable parts of everyone's different schedules feels less overwhelming. Here are some examples of daily anchors. And these are just examples. Think of your own, okay? Morning anchors Could be that everyone gets dressed before coming to breakfast and backpacks live by the door and are checked before shoes go on. Afternoon anchors might be lunchboxes are emptied next to the sink as soon as you're all inside, and shoes come off and go in the same place every day. And evening anchors might be that showers happen before screen time and backpacks are packed before bedtime, not in the morning. Now, each of these reduce your decision making and create a predictable routine for everyone. And remember, if a routine only works on calm weeks, it's not a routine. It's a fantasy. So your anchors have to be things that each person in your family can do consistently, even if the little ones need help doing them until they're old enough. Once your anchors are set, you don't have to think about them anymore. And you can spend your time and energy instead on the logistics of getting everyone where they need to be and then getting them back home again. Okay, now many of you weren't really asking about bins or calendars. You were asking about thinking. And one of my favorite questions was this: I want to help my kids travel around the world while they're still kids, but I'm the only planner. How do I organize something like that without burning out? First of all, what a beautiful goal. Second, planning isn't about having the perfect plan. It's about deciding what you're willing to take on and what you're not. You don't need to plan everything down to the letter quite yet. You need to separate vision holding from logistics. So, step one is to hold the vision loosely but consistently. Your big goals don't need constant action, they need more like regular visits. So, you might create a shared document with your partner or with your kids. You can start a note in your planner and then do a seasonal check in with what you've noted down to see where it's going. Then step two is to plan in phases. Ask yourself, what's the next doable step? Can I decide on a destination? Which cities do we know people in who we can reconnect with? And then we'd have some locals to meet up with, or who can let us know about interesting events or what's not worth our time visiting, and so on. And that may be a way to get started with traveling the world more easily than planning a trip to where you don't know anybody. What are the historical areas I want them to see? What information do I need before deciding more? Will we need visas or vaccines? So brain dump all of your questions and then ask yourself what the next doable step is. And planning in phases like that protects your energy. And here's a little permission slip I'm giving to you. You're allowed to be the visionary without being the execution engine for everything. Engage someone to be your planning helper. It could be your partner, but it could also be your sister, your brother, your mom, or your best friend. Or you could call a travel agent who you click with and talk over the options with them. And that's the Organizing for Beautiful Living principle of work to live well in real life. Once you accept that you don't have to carry everything perfectly, the mental load of a big goal like traveling the world with the kids gets a lot lighter. Okay, several of you asked variations of this question. What's a cleaning schedule I should keep, and what supplies should I actually have, and where do I keep them? And what if I have help coming in? Okay, the big reframe that changed how I dealt with cleaning my house was this: your home doesn't need to be cleaner, it needs to be easier to maintain. I maintain my home, and I do have a cleaning service that comes in once every 2 weeks. During the months when we're traveling a lot, like the summer or November and December, they'll maybe come once a month or even less. But because I approach my cleaning as if I'm maintaining and not deep cleaning every time, I feel like cleaning doesn't make me panicked anymore. Most homes have too many cleaning supplies in too many places. So I recommend that you start with the simple single, meaning one primary spot where you keep your cleaning supplies. In this case, your daily and weekly used cleaning supplies. And then maybe you have one spot where you keep a few backstock supplies where you refill your cleaning supplies from. This will keep you from keeping a bunch of duplicates, or I guess multiples would be the right word. And then you'll branch out from there. So my backstock area is in my pantry cabinet. I keep the bottles and containers in there that I take to the refill store whenever I take the dog to the groomer because they're just a few doors away from each other. So my cue to check on quantities of my backstock is when it's time to take the dog to the groomer. And if any of the bottles are running low, I just drop them into a shopping bag and they come with me to be refilled. And then in my bathroom, I keep one small refillable bottle of dish soap and one small container of baking soda, along with a cleaning brush, one crevice brush, and some cleaning cloths. I also have one enzyme cleaner for the toilet and the toilet brush, of course. In the older kids' bathrooms, I put a bottle of 7th generation disinfectant spray and the same, small bottle of dish soap and container of baking soda and a brush and cleaning cloths. They come and get the toilet cleaner from the pantry area for their toilets. And under the kitchen sink, I have the dish soap and baking soda again, a disinfectant spray, a bottle of Sal's Suds that I mix with water in a glass spray bottle, and that makes an all-purpose cleaning spray. One bottle of Sal's Suds lasts forever. I also have a supply of dish sponges, a stack of cleaning cloths, the tablets for the dishwasher, a vegetable brush, a crevice brush, and a cleaning paste. I use a Benequi, which is a non-toxic, soft, abrasive paste. I'll often use that with the coconut fiber scrubby sponges for tough cleaning, like the glass on the oven door. I do have vinegar too in my pantry, and I put a little bit into a spray bottle if I need a vinegar solution to clean something like the bathroom floor or mirrors. But I also always add a couple of drops of essential oils to that because I don't enjoy the smell of vinegar everywhere. I have a jar of powdered citric acid under the kitchen sink too. That removes the mineral deposits around my faucets without the vinegary smell. And since we have a dog, I also do keep a couple of cans of disinfectant wipes in the pantry because I find that necessary sometimes for sure. And that's what I have as cleaning supplies, and that's where I keep it. It's simple, and I've gotten rid of a bunch of the chemical-based cleaners other than the disinfecting wipes, and it's working for me for now. So the 4 locations for our cleaning supplies in my house are the pantry, where the backstock is, and my bathroom, the kids' bathroom, and under the kitchen sink. So they're closest to where they're used the most, where my helpers can find them without asking me, and where restocking is obvious. That's how I make it simple to maintain the clean between the cleaning service coming in. All right, a few of you asked, how do systems hold up when life gets chaotic, like when I get sick or it's vacation time? And the answer is they don't hold up perfectly. And that's okay. Systems aren't only meant to prevent chaos because chaos will happen. They're meant to make recovery easier. This is where the review step of the Clear 5 framework to declutter and organize matters. When you regularly ask yourself, what's not working? What tiny tweak would make this smoother? You have the opportunity for refinement. You refine what's not working. So notice. That's a big part of refining your systems. Notice when something doesn't work and then decide what the simplest way to refine it might be. One person asked me 2 weeks ago, my linen closet is a mess. I can't keep it neat. What do I do? And when she sent me pictures, it was jam-packed with all the bath towels and beach towels and so many small washcloths and hand towels. It's a storage system that wasn't working for her. She didn't really know how many towel sets she owned or if any of them were stained. So when a clean towel was needed in one of the bathrooms, pulling out one towel made everything else topple over, and it was never neat. And the easy solution here was for her to refine that storage system. Instead of keeping every towel in the linen closet, I suggested she keep one set of spare towels per person in the bathroom they were used. So there's one set of towels being used and one spare set folded in the cabinet under the sink. To make that happen, she had to clear out what was under the sink in the kids' bathroom. There were cleaning supplies, which she moved to the linen closet, which is right outside that bathroom. There were bath toys, which she decluttered a bunch and moved to a drawer. So now under the sink, there are only the spare bath and hand towels and extra toilet paper. The face cloths are limited to one drawer in the bathroom, and the other 2 drawers have the kids' daily toiletries in them. And she did the same thing for the towels in the guest bathroom and in her bathroom. So now she's keeping fewer towels altogether and she can easily know if any of them need to be replaced. Doing that means that she can now keep her linen closet super tidy much more easily. I want to end by answering this directly. How organized is organized enough for a busy parent? Here it is. If your systems let you live your life instead of manage your stuff, you're organized enough. If your car has crumbs, but you can find what you need, organized enough. If your plans aren't fully mapped 5 years out, but you have a list of questions to find answers to towards your big goal, organized enough. If your home supports your work, your kids, and your energy, organized enough. I'm not going to lie, it's much, much easier to get organized enough when you own less, like the busy mom with the packed linen closet, or me with minimal cleaning supplies now. You're living a full life, and now you're choosing systems that respect it. So today I answered your questions about organizing your car for real afternoon life, simplifying routines and schedules, planning big goals without burnout, creating cleaning systems at home, and redefining what organized enough actually means. And if there's one thing I hope you take with you this week, it's this. Organization is mostly about confidence, your confidence in being able to handle whatever comes your way because you have systems that are simple enough for you to rely on every day. And if you're not there yet with your house, then sign up on the waiting list for my free class coming up in January, which is all about the 3 simple steps to decluttering your kitchen in just one weekend. You can get on the list at fireflybridge.com/update. The link is in the show notes. It will get your kitchen in shape right at the start of the year. So you'll have the confidence knowing that no matter how messy your kitchen might get over a weekend or during a busy week, you can get it back in order with minimal time and minimal effort. And if this episode has helped you feel calmer or more capable in your home, please leave a quick review. It helps other women like you find the show. I truly appreciate it. Have a beautifully organized week. I'm Z, and I'll see you on the next episode.